What's going on, everybody? Project Rodder here, and welcome to the Rodcast, the Monster Truck Fanatic podcast, which is your ultimate destination for all things monster trucks. Whether you're a diehard Monster Jam fan, a passionate follower of the sport, or just an avid player of the Monster Jam or monster truck related video games, this is the podcast for you. Once again, I'm your host, Project Rodder, and here we are in episode 7 of the Rodcast, almost 2 months in. And so far, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying this whole podcast experience. So far, it's been pretty good. I've gotten some good feedback. And overall, it's just been a really fun time. So in today's episode, we're going to be going over the results of Stop 4 of the Stadium Series, which was in Glendale. And then we're going to be having a special guest yet again. Meant to have him last week. Unfortunately, our schedules just didn't align well. And I was just super swamped. But luckily this weekend we were able to make it work, and he will be on today's episode. It's Action Phil from the Steel Titans 2 Stadium Series. He is the driver of Blue Thunder, and again, a great conversation that we had today. A lot of good questions, a lot of interviewing, if you will, if that makes sense. Just talking about his history as a Monster Jam fan, and just stories and everything, and what he thinks about the series and the future and everything. So it was a really good conversation. Glad to finally have him on the podcast, and hopefully we can have him on in the future. We'll have to wait and see, but let's go ahead and get started with the results of the Stadium Series, Stop 4 of Season 3, almost to the end of the season as a whole. Starting today, we're going to be seeing the start of the last stop of the Arena Series, so more on that towards the end. But when we left San Diego last time in the Stadium Series, we had Dragon taking the lead away from Bakugan Dragonoid with 131 points in the end. Monster Dalmatian moving to second with 123. Bakugan Dragonoid moving down to third with 118. Northern Nightmare in fourth with 99. Max D in fifth with 98. Blue Thunder in sixth with 95. Soldier Fortune in 7th with 94. Megalodon in 8th with 93. And then Gas Monkey was in 9th. Unfortunately, like I've mentioned before, he has been disqualified and banned from the series as a whole. More on that, you can reach out to me on Discord and we can definitely discuss. But Crush Station was in 10th with 88. Earthshaker in 11th with 86. And Alien Invasion in 12th with 81. Glendale was a track from Season 1. Just like San Diego, I think it was the second stop of Season 1 back in Glendale. And this time around in qualifying, it was Monster Dalmatian who was on top with a 21.47. Max D second fastest with 21.92. Megalodon third fastest with 22.04. And Dragon fourth fastest with a 22.07. Those were your top 4 going in to the racing competition. And the rest as follows was Gas Monkey, Earthshaker, Northern Nightmare, Blue Thunder, Soldier Fortune, Bakugan Dragonoid, Alien Invasion, and Crush Station in last. So moving on to high jump, Bakugan Dragonoid and Daniel Murray taking a high jump win in Glendale, and really well needed. Didn't do too well in qualifying, but getting that high jump win definitely helped him out in the leaderboards. He really needs the points right now if he wants to get his lead back. But Monster Dalmatian was in second, just about half a foot off, more or less, or really over a foot, about a foot and a half off of Bakugan. So he really had a really great height at 38.2 feet. Monster Dalmatian had 36.7 feet. But going in order down the list, we had Earthshaker in third, then Megalodon, then Dragon, Max D, Northern Nightmare, Alien Invasion, Gas Monkey, Blue Thunder, Crush Station, and Soldier Fortune in last place. Moving on to the racing competition, it was a great one, to say the least. We had some amazing matchups in Glendale. Blue Thunder and Soldier Fortune would start us off with a very close race. Blue Thunder beating Soldier Fortune by about 0.2 seconds, so 2/10 of a second, I believe is the right term. So a great race to start the competition. Crush Station and Gas Monkey were the next race in round 1. Crush Station unfortunately got a DNF as he drove off a little too awkward off the race lane, trying to avoid a penalty, but it ended up sending him flying into one of the obstacles, and he was unable to finish the race. Next race was Alien Invasion and Earthshaker, where Earthshaker would beat Alien Invasion. And then the last race of round 1 was Northern Nightmare against Bakugan Dragonoid, where Northern Nightmare ended up on top. Moving on to round 2, Monster Dalmatian was the fastest qualifier and raced Blue Thunder, where Blue Thunder unfortunately got a penalty, but it's not like it would have mattered because Monster Dalmatian still had the faster time overall with 22 seconds. Gas Monkey would race Dragon, where Dragon would win. Megalodon would race Earthshaker, where Megalodon would win. And then Northern Nightmare would race Max D in the last race of round 2, where Northern Nightmare would wound up on top. Max D had a crazy race, a flip, and a penalty, which really killed his time, unfortunately. But moving on to the semifinal round, we had Monster Dalmatian versus Dragon. Monster Dalmatian being the racing winner in San Diego, having an opportunity to make it back to the final round to get a second racing win of the season, and he did that by beating Dragon and moving on to the final round to face Megalodon, who beat Northern Nightmare in the final race of the semifinal round. So at the end, there were two, and before I talk about the final round, Megalodon and Northern Nightmare's race was super close. It was 4/100ths of a second away. He had a 22.85. Northern Nightmare had a 22.89. So super close race, and that just gave us kind of a bit of a foreshadowing for the championship race, where Monster Dalmatian and Megalodon would race, where Monster Dalmatian ended up on top by 0.05 seconds with a time of a 21.97. Megalodon had a 22.02. But we had to go down to the super slow-mo and kind of line it up on the line to see what it all was before looking at the time. But it was pretty obvious after the slow-mo that Monster Dalmatian had that racing win. So second win of the season for Omboji, definitely helping him out with points for the overall and the season leaderboard. So moving on to skills, Dragon yet again, for his third time this season. Got the first one in Detroit, got the second one in San Diego, and now a third one here in Glendale with a 9.742. Blue Thunder, though, right behind him, Action Phil, the guest of today's podcast, right behind him with a 9.214, and he had an amazing skills attempt, but unfortunately Dragon just had the higher points and took the win away from him. But going in order after Blue Thunder was Northern Nightmare in third, then Alien Invasion, then Bakugan Dragonoid, Megalodon, Max D, Monster Dalmatian, Soldier Fortune, Earthshaker, Crush Station, and then at that point, the official disqualification and banning of Gas Monkey Garage took place, which did not allow him to continue from then on out. So racing was the last competition he was in, and then going forward, he'll just sit as a DSQ with no points being able to be accrued during the rest of this season. Moving on to freestyle, though, we had amazing runs, phenomenal runs all the way around, and some of the highest scores we've seen so far. Only two scores were under 30 points, and that was Soldier Fortune and Crush Station, who were in 10th and 11th place. Soldier Fortune with 29, Crush Station with 25. We had a three-way tie for second place, although it wasn't necessarily a tie. There was a tiebreaker. Higher regulation score is the better, or is the one that counts as the winner of the tiebreaker. So let's go ahead and go talk about the first place winner. I don't know why I went the way that I did, but Bakugan Dragonoid taking the freestyle win in Glendale was one of the best runs we've seen so far. It's one to rival Northern Nightmares and San Diego's. I feel like that one's going to be really untouchable for a long time, but he had an amazing run in Glendale, scoring a 42, a 37 in regulation, and a perfect 5 in bonus for a final score of a 42. Blue Thunder and Action Phil yet again in second place with a 39 in regulation, but unfortunately only a 2 in bonus, giving him a 41. Dragon in third with a 38 in regulation, but a 3 in bonus, also getting a 41. And Megalodon in fourth with a 37 in regulation and a 4 in bonus for a final score of a 41. So there's your three-way tie for second, although the differences in regulation score was what gave them different positions in the leaderboards. But after Megalodon, we had Max D in fifth with a 37, Monster Dalmatian in sixth with a 33, Earthshaker in 7th with a 32, Northern Nightmare in 8th with a 32. Earthshaker had the higher regulation score of a 29. Northern Nightmare had a regulation of 28, and then Alien Invasion in 9th with a 30, and then, like I mentioned earlier, Soldier Fortune in 10th with a 29, and Crush Station in 11th with a 25. So, an amazing event overall. And when it came down to the overall event champion, it was none other than Dragon. Monster Dalmatian had it from the get-go. He was in a very good position to get his second overall event championship, but unfortunately, that was not the case for him. It went to Dragon getting his second event championship of the season. So, going in hot into Anaheim, which is the last stop of the Stadium Series. So, as of now, at the end of stop 4 of the Stadium Series and going into Anaheim for the last stop, Dragon is still on top with 185 points. Monster Dalmatian in second with 170. Bakugan Dragonoid in third with 157. Megalodon in fourth with 139. Northern Nightmare and Max D tied for fifth with 135, Blue Thunder in 7th with 131, Earthshaker in 8th with 120, Soldier Fortune in 9th with 108, Alien Invasion in 10th with 104, and Crush Station in 11th with 96. So this last stop, let me repeat myself because I do mention this later on in the conversation with Action Phil. Let me just remind everyone that even though Anaheim will be the final stop of the Stadium Series, it's still not the end of the series as a whole, to where we're not going to crown a champion there. We're not going to crown a Stadium Series champion until the end of World Finals 3. So there's still opportunities to get points. So if you're on top at Anaheim, doesn't necessarily mean you win. You just have a greater advantage going into the end. But now that there's going to be a total of 15 trucks in World Finals, that means if you get first place in any competition, you get 15 total points instead of 12. So it's going to be a huge game changer come World Finals 3. It's going to be very interesting to say the least, and I'm really looking forward to see who we're going to crown as this season's World Finals champions. But moving on to the Arena Series, like I said, today at 4 p.m. Central Time, we will see qualifying for the final stop of the Arena Series, and this final stop will be crowning the Arena Series Season 3 winner. This Friday is going to be the freestyle competition, and that's when we're going to finally crown the Season 3 winner. Right now, when we left, Wichita in stop 4, we had El Toro Loco on top with 89 points, Captain's Curse in second with 82 points, Gravedigger in third with 80, Doomsday in fourth with 66, Ice Cream Man in fifth with 63, and Monster Mutt in sixth with 61. So really, it's all coming down to the top 3 at the moment. They have the best opportunity to win it, and that's El Toro Loco, Captain's Curse, and Gravedigger. Captain's Curse is going to be going for his 5th and final racing win of the season, as he's currently 4-0 in racing competition so far. So he's been undefeated ever since the beginning of this season. But a Gravedigger had an amazing stop in Wichita, where she almost had a perfect event, getting 4 out of the 5 competitions and being the overall event champion. So she's in a really good spot right now, but El Toro Loco has been hot all season, so who knows? It can go to anybody. But be sure to watch today at 4 p.m. Central, and then the rest of this week at 4 p.m. Central Time, to see how the competition unfolds and who will be crowned the winner of the Arena Series Season 3. So that's going to be it for the results of this of the series so far. And before we move on to the conversation, once again, I got to do it to you. And thank huge shout out to April Summers for being the first person finally to use my W code, Project Rod to get 10% off of W Energy. But W Energy, again, guys, it's really good. I'm gonna reach out to April. I haven't heard yet. She did receive it, but she didn't tell me what she thinks about it. But again, Beach and Peach and Galaxy Grenade, my personal favorite. I absolutely love it, you guys. If you get the sampler pack, if you're hesitant on buying a tub, get the sampler. You get 3 flavors and a shaker cup, and you're able to try it out to see which one you like and see if you even like it, if it's even something you want to do. But again, Beach and Peach and Galaxy Grenade are 2 of the 3 that come with it. I forget what the third one is. I think it's Dragonade or something. But again, Peach and Peach, Galaxy Grenade, my absolute favorite, guys. Be sure to use it if you'd like. Use code Project Rod to get 10% off of your W Energy order, and a small portion of that purchase will come back to me, and it helps fund the channel. And it goes a long way, guys, so I really do appreciate it. And yeah, that's all I got for now. So let's go ahead and have the conversation here, and I hope you guys enjoy. All right, so today's guest is a driver in the Stadium Series. He's a driver behind Blue Thunder in his first season ever in my series, and hopefully in the future as well in Showdown. Today's guest is Philip, also known as Action Phil in the Stadium Series. So how you doing today, Phil?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing real good. I'm enjoying the Stadium Series for sure.
Good, man. I'm glad you are, and I'm glad to have you in it. I'm sure it's pretty exciting. This is your first time on here. I know Drift, I believe, was the one that kind of put you on, and I'm grateful of him for that too. So
I'm quite surprised that he put me on to the monster truck thing. I was trying to look for a league like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and like I said, I'm really grateful to him or grateful for him that he did that. I'm always welcome to have more people join. The bigger the better, the more the merrier. I'm always happy to have anybody new. So especially with this new series coming up, it's going to be a bigger lineup. So I'm looking forward to see who all's going to be able to join. But I guess we'll go ahead and get started right off the bat. I mean, right away, what is it that initially drew you to Monster Jam or just monster trucks in general?
Well, I grew up watching Monster Jam on TV back in 2001 when the TNA
Hmm.
series was going on, and it just kept on going from there on out. And then I also got involved in watching NASCAR in 2001 as well. So basically, in Monster Jam, it was just about the uniqueness of the body styles and the paint schemes on the trucks back in 2001. Fell in love with two specific ones, in which case, Little Tiger was one of them, and then Gravedigger when he came out with 7 in that year
Hmm.
too, because they were both short wheelbase trucks and they had a lot of power. But I think the biggest one was Little Tiger for me.
Yeah, and I forget about Little Tiger. I believe he was in one of the World Finals. Might have been, I don't know,
I
4
think
or 5.
I think it was like I believe it was 4 when he had both Wolverine and Little Tiger on the World Final, and it kind of I think he won the World Finals freestyle with Tiger at one point in one of the shows.
Yeah, I think Tiger, if I remember correctly, the headlights were they looked like eyes, right? They were like blue eyes or something.
Yeah, the blue eyes.
Yeah, that was really interesting. It was a cool little special aspect of it. So a lot of creativity was coming up around that time, and like you said, all the body styles and everything, a lot of it was changing. At the turn of the century, you went from just regular trucks and SUVs to, you had the Monster Mutt Mercury, you had the El Toro Loco. Little Tiger was still a truck, but it had that paint scheme to give a different effect. And like Wolverine, that had its own body going on, and
Yep.
definitely a turning point of the sport, and the overall visual of everything.
Exactly.
So given you've been a fan since 2001, more or less, given the 23 years from then, what do you think, or what would you say is your most memorable moment or experience at a monster truck event or Monster Jam event?
I remember one time in 2003, I went to Nassau Coliseum, and actually, no, actually, I'm wrong. Actually, I went to my first event in Englishtown, New Jersey, when they had the monster truck shows going on down there, and they had basically almost a good handful of trucks. They had Little Tiger, Wolverine, Power Forward, maybe a good chunk of Independence in there too. They also had Gravedigger and Gold, I think, T-Mans at the time in 2002.
Yeah,
And that was a good show, and I was wondering if they were gonna do like a World Finals in there, but due to the fact it was like a little town, you never know what type of people they're gonna say. Oh, what's with the loud noise and all that? I was like, you're in the middle of nowhere. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think I was the same way. I'm not too far from Houston, so all the shows were in NRG, big stadium. But I always dreamed of them ever having, some kind of big event here, World Finals or something. And, unfortunately it hasn't happened yet, but who knows now that they have the rotating schedules with World Finals. Who knows? Maybe. I mean, NRG isn't the biggest stadium, but I mean, you never know. I know next year is going to be in Utah, and right now I'm kind of in debating whether I want to go or not. I really do. And it's right around my birthday too. It's actually my birthday weekend. So I'm trying to see if it might be worth a shot to take a flight over to Utah. I think it was Salt Lake, and go to my first ever World Finals.
Yeah,
Have you ever been to a World Finals?
I don't think so. I mean, I've been hearing a lot about it. I never been to a World Finals, and I was hoping they'll bring a World Finals down to MetLife, and there was a lot of talk about it. But due to the fact that, MetLife does have a lot of stuff down here, and I know we have a theme park somewhere in Jersey. Basically, we have a water park in a building, which looked kind of ugly to me, but I mean,
yeah, I hope. I mean, you never know. Now, like I said, with the rotating schedules, they might. It was what, Orlando to Tennessee, and then it was Los Angeles. Was it Los Angeles? I think it was Los Angeles. This past year, so. I mean, you never know. Out of all places, they're going to Utah. So there's a possibility. Like I said, NRG isn't that big, but there's also AT&T Stadium over in Arlington, at least here in Texas. And then I forget, I think the Alamo Dome is where they go. I don't know if it's still called that, but where they go in San Antonio. So those are the biggest areas that I know of that they go to. So hopefully I get lucky enough and they come somewhere nearby. But I'm still trying to hope and pray that I can go to my first ever World Finals. I tried going back in I forget 2016, I believe. I tried going, but it didn't work out too well, and I wasn't able to go. So. And that was back when it was still in Vegas, which would have been awesome, but it is what it is. We move on.
Yeah, that's true.
But you mentioned Little Tiger and Wolverine were one of your Little Tiger and Gravedigger were some of your original favorites, but I guess overall from 2001 to now, has that changed? Do you have a new favorite truck and driver, or?
Well, there are a lot of new faces in Monster Jam this year that really caught my attention, and then some of the drivers that I used to grow up with. I still like Gravedigger, no doubt. But when the whole family of Gravedigger came out, they had different paint schemes. I was like, wow, this is gonna be unique. One point I liked was Pablo Huffaker when he drove Blacksmith.
Oh, yeah.
I remember him driving his own truck in World Finals too. Mm-hmm. And I seen the tape that at one point in racing that he was racing up against Blue Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
He went out,
cartwheeled into those containers.
Yeah, and flipped it over into the container. And he went to the back summer freestyle and brought out another one, which kind of was rare to me. What type of name he brought out? Identity.
It was Raging Steel.
Raging Steel.
Yeah.
Short freestyle. I was like, oh damn. But to me, I still like Gravedigger. I have a lot of respect for Tom Meents, even though I didn't like the truck that he's driving. I used to like him when he drove Bulldozer at the time. Yeah. And I don't know what happened to that identity. I heard a lot of rumors that it went to a different person. I don't know exactly who, but I noticed that when that identity left, El Toro Loco was still racing at the time. I think I'm still in the favor of the Gravedigger, so there's a lot of other ones. Maybe offend you.
Yeah, for sure. It's really hard to pick one. I mean, I've gone through numerous favorites, and even now, if someone asks me who's your favorite, it's really hard to say because I love Metal Militia. That was my absolute favorite when Metal Militia was out. But then Monster Energy took that spot. I've always loved Son of a Digger. I met Ryan. He's a great guy, an amazing driver. So I have a couple of his autographs, and obviously Dennis. I mean, who doesn't have Dennis as a favorite? At this point,
I always have Dennis as a favorite because he's the wild man. He's the godfather of freestyle.
He's the one that made it all happen. I mean, we wouldn't be having this conversation had he not become a huge part of it. Exactly. I don't think it would have made it as far as it did without him. And Tom, I think I mentioned it in the podcast with what's his name? Daniel. Was it Drift Boy?
I think
I might have mentioned it with Drift Boy, but Daniel too is the one that I remember the most right now, and I'm sure he's going to be listening to this and be like, "How'd you forget about me?" I promise I didn't forget Daniel. I promise. But I remember when we were talking, I mentioned that I was a huge Tom Meents hater. I just did not. I was like, no, like Dennis all the way. How dare you beat Dennis? Dennis is the better driver. And it wasn't until 2008 in a Houston show where Tom was just going crazy, lost the wheel. It was the first time I ever seen a truck lose a wheel live and continue the freestyle run. So it was just life-changing for me at that point. I was like, yep, he's elite. He's one of my favorites now. But you mentioned Pablo. Pablo was a great driver as well, and he's not too far from me. I mean, I believe he's from Spring.
Yes.
He has his shop out there still, I think. And I mean, if Dennis wasn't driving Gravedigger in Houston, it was Pablo, and that always made me happy because I knew he was always going to put on an amazing show. So again, a great driver all the way around. Like I said, it's just really hard to just pick one, but I think, and this is going to change, I'm sure people might quote me on it, but overall, out of every single driver ever, I just have to say Dennis.
Yep, me too.
Nothing's gonna beat him. Watching videos of him now from the past, from early to mid 2000s, Dennis. I mean, he was amazing. And I don't think we'll ever have another one like him.
Well, don't get me wrong. His sons are also trying to keep it in the family as well, and I have no problem with it. It's just that, you can't copycat. You can't really actually, well, except for Adam, because, Adam's been in his father's shoes. But Dennis had that knack of throttle rhythm. And you
Yep.
hear it time on board, off board. It's like,
Mhm.
it just goes in. And then when Adam and Ryan do it, it's like, nah, your father does it better, because
Yep.
he usually goes out, floors the thing, throws it in the second gear, and he comes out roping it. And I remember one time in 2000, the World Finals 2, that he always loved to do that throttle rhythm. And because usually you don't see him hit the brakes so much, he lets the truck do its own thing, and when it lands, it just does a power wheelie. That's why I liked it 7, because it was a state-of-the-art truck, short wheelbase. You could do whatever you want to it, but sometimes he had problems with the truck down the road, and then he took it to somebody else. Maybe I think Pablo had the truck, put his setup on the truck. I think it was his springs, his chassis, made the truck better, which was a race source chassis. That basically, that's what I like about it. It's a Frankenstein truck. Could do power wheelies, just like Little Tiger did. But I like that truck, and I always will. Like 7. Actually, it was funny, Rod. Englishtown, New Jersey was actually a drag strip, and today it's not a drag strip anymore. It's a drift course, and it was kind of funny. I don't want to cut you off, but
No, you're good.
It's a very unique course to look at, because I've seen videos on YouTube. You should look it up. It's the monster truck shows there are just absolutely awesome to do World Finals there, just to keep the fans there and get ticket prices up.
What's it called?
Englishtown, New Jersey. Drag strip. It's no longer there. It's now a drift course. They used to do a lot of swap meets and stuff down there. That's usually my local spot. That and Nassau Coliseum. That's where they also went to as an arena show.
I'm gonna end up looking that up here once we're done with all this and check that out.
It's a good place to see, but turn it into a drift course, which is messed up because they stopped doing drag racing down there.
But you said they did monster truck shows there, or
They
do
did
now?
monster truck shows there.
Oh,
yeah.
back when it
They
was
used
a drag
when
course?
it was a drag strip. Yep.
Got it. Well,
There's a lot
it's no
of videos.
different because it's
It's
no
no
different than what they did with what was it, Sam Boyd Stadium? They just took
Sam
that
Boyd
away
Stadium.
after having it there for 20 years. But kind of going back on what you were saying about Dennis and his throttle rhythm, that I think, and I mean, I'm sure everybody knows and everybody agrees, but I mean, that is like music to my ears. And that's like one of the things that I love about watching his old videos, is just hearing that throttle rhythm of that truck, and just I don't know, just the way he drove. I mean, it's, and I've said this last time too about, Adam. He's not really my favorite Anderson, but I feel, again, no disrespect to Adam, amazing driver, but I feel like Ryan, he's still a part of the team and all that, and still somewhat related to Gravedigger, but
Yep.
he has his own identity. It's Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger, and I feel like Adam is kind of, Dennis 2.0. Like, I don't know, I feel like he kind of needs to get out of that area and kind of, do his own thing, because now you have Kristen Anderson, now you have Weston Anderson, they're coming up as well, and you got 3 Andersons all driving the same truck, which I'm sure Dennis wouldn't have it any other way, but I feel like they all need to kind of get their own identity to really, not to get past Dennis, but kind of stand out for themselves.
That's true.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to constantly reiterate this, because I absolutely mean this with absolute no disrespect to anybody, but it's just, that's the way I see it. And I feel like others might agree. And if you're listening and you don't agree, well, let me know. We can talk about it. Obviously no argument, but we can discuss. But I don't know. That's just the way I see it. So who knows? We'll see what happens in the future. But I guess on the topic of the future, what would you like to see in the future of Monster Jam? The monster trucks have gone from just crushing cars to side by side racing. To some crazy like circuit race type racing, and now racing and freestyle to racing donuts, wheelies, skills, everything, backflips, bicycles, all that. What's the next big thing you would like to see in the future?
Wow, in the near future, I know I go to Pocono the Pocono NASCAR course, and if you look at the front stretch, I would say they should bring them to Pocono, because that track back in the 90s, actually they did a monster truck season with the Panda Points season. And I was like, man, they should have done a monster truck thing down here in Pocono. And they done air shows down there. It didn't work out. And I still do NASCAR down there, which I would love to see that track keep going from there on out. But bring monster trucks to Pocono, you're gonna have a lot of people in the grandstands rooting for their favorite truck. I mean, they'll be there, buy the ticket, see the shows. I mean, I know the track doesn't have lights, so whatever. But I would like to see that in the future.
For sure. And give me 1 second. I gotta step away just for a quick second.
Yep, go ahead. If you guys are listening, comment down below who you guys are thinking about. Comment down below if you guys like this podcast before he comes back.
Okay, sorry. I got just someone walked in while I was in the middle of this, and I'm like, wait, give me a second. So kind of going back on your answer. So pretty much just have them expand is what you're saying,
Yes.
Go to that track, but also expand more, which I feel like we're kind of heading that way. We're kind of heading in that direction. And, it's only getting bigger every year. And I don't know if you saw the news, but here just, what was it? Maybe Friday night, Disney's making a Monster Jam movie.
Yeah. When I heard that, I was like, what? Disney's making a Monster Truck movie. Damn.
So who knows what it's even going to be like. I've just, I mentioned this on the server as well, that I'm not a huge Dwayne Johnson fan, and I don't think a lot of people are. I did see a lot of people commenting negatively, saying that why him of all people. But I guess we'll see what happens.
I mean, there's not a lot of people out there to choose from, because right now we're in a 50-50 chance right now with actors and actresses that either they want to do it or they don't. But to me, I think he's the only one that could prove it that he could do it. The problem is, why not? I'd rather have him become the monster truck type of person, because he had his name on the side of a monster truck one time.
No, this is true. I mean, I know a lot of other wrestlers did as well, but he's kind of...
Stinger was a good one.
Yeah, he's kind of one of the main ones that, it's pretty relevant when it comes to I guess being famous. But who knows? We'll see what happens. Hopefully it turns out for the best. Hopefully they bring Dennis or Tom or some well-known faces around to kind of give them a chance in the spotlight, but also kind of what's the word? Kind of show them some appreciation for they're the ones that made the sport what it is. So if we're gonna bring someone like The Rock in to boost the fandom, it's I feel like it's only better to bring the people who originally boosted it.
It's kind of funny. I remember that little video you had on Instagram that it showed Dennis up against Tom Mance, and when they interviewed Dennis, he said that it was a bad idea to bring Bill Goldberg around because it might start up a weird fandom in Monster Jam. And he's like, And I remember he said that Tom's truck looked ugly. I was like, I couldn't agree more, man. Like, who the hell brought up that type of body?
That was a futuristic SUV or whatever he called it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember it. He's like, what?
Hey, man, but that ended up being a pretty iconic body that no one else has ever taken.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
Who knows where it's going to go from here too, because I don't think they've really said anything about who's taking over after Tom. I know what was his name, Blake
Granger, I think.
I know
driving.
Is he still driving it, or because I know he did it for World Finals, but I don't know if he's done anything after World Finals. I know he did international a lot, but
I know his son has done a couple of shows with the truck, but it wasn't the silver. I think he done a couple of trucks with the red and the split paint job on a couple of shows.
Yeah, and who knows? I know he came back for a little bit.
Yes,
but
I don't
don't
know
know
if
if
he
he'll
had
come
it in
back for
him.
sure.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
he's
gonna
on
have to
side.
pick someone really, on
Long
the
term.
yeah, but like someone who can have a similar driving style to Tom, because Dennis had his throttle rhythm and his big air and his amazing control, but Tom had that, insane
Oh my.
save. I mean, the most impossible saves you would never think of. That was Tom.
Yep, I
You know,
remember a
he
show I seen on TV that it like kind of made me think, why the hell did you even try it? Like, I remember it was one time that it was about the chassis he had. It was on its last leg. I think it was Syracuse, one of those years that he flipped the truck once, tore it shredded the body off, and he was bare chassis. The left front wheel was not spinning when he made left turns, and he tried to do cyclones, almost flipped it. And then he sends it off this jump, and all of a sudden, like, the truck didn't have power. It just broke the front wheels off, and the truck flipped like 90-degree upward. I'm like, what the hell was that?
Oh, that was Arlington.
Yeah.
That was that Arlington freestyle.
I was like, why the hell did you do that?
Dude's insane, and that's what I mean. That those are the shoes that someone are gonna have to fill when it
Yeah.
comes to taking over Max D. Because I mean, dude was a psycho. He was insane, and I mean, he, again, the professor. I mean, there's not gonna be another Dennis. There's not gonna be another Tom, and it's just, I'm glad that I was able to grow up watching them, in person and everything, and be around in this era, because now, becoming a fan at this very moment and not being able to see them live is just, it's crushing to say the least. Because I mean, dudes, they're both insane, and especially when they would compete against each other. I mean, it was always a show when they would be working or performing in the same show or driving in the same show.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't, we'll see who the next ones will be in the future. But let's see. So Monster Jam, Monster Trucks, being a fan, has it influenced you in any way, like your life or your hobbies? Like me, for example, I'm doing YouTube.
Yeah.
So like, how has it influenced you?
Actually, it made me do more things in Monster Jam since we got a new game coming out. I also do Monster Truck games on Roblox, which is, of course, Drip brought it up, Overdriven. I think the update's coming out soon. Not just Monster Jam, but also NASCAR stuff as well.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of YouTube stuff with that. Heck, I even play the PS2 version of Monster Jam and NASCAR stuff. I really like that stuff. It doesn't get me bored at all. But
those
the
old
Monster Truck
games are fun.
The Monster Truck stuff, I know how to do the throttle rhythm just like Dennis does. Just to copycat how he does it. It's just like, man, I do it in Overdriven. And I mean, like, I just fell in love with how he does it. I watch every video, just copycat what he does on the throttle rhythm part.
I always catch myself hitting the throttle in midair and everything just to hear it, just to bring back some old memories of Dennis. But Overdriven. Now I've heard a lot of things about it. I've never tried it, and I've thought about trying it, but I just don't know enough about it. I've never done Roblox.
Well, it originated with a game called Monster Truck Championship, and then it actually exploded and became another game, which they wanted to make it more realer. The damage model is more realer. Due to the fact they got the engine that they have, they made the trucks break a little bit more more incredibly. I was like, wow, holy cow, that's what you guys are up to. And now they got a new update coming.
How does it work? Do you just sign up for Roblox and then it's like a game within Roblox, or?
Yeah, it's a game within Roblox. They have dozens of other games in there. When you type it in Monster Trucks, they have a whole slew of different ones. But basically, that one alone has got a lot of attention. And now the new update is coming out soon, which I got to give condolences to the people that made it, because
and
they're adding more trucks.
I've seen some clips and stuff on YouTube, and some videos are like, a sneak peek of what's coming, or a teaser of what might come. And I'm like, well, what is this game? Like, you've mentioned it. I think Daniel mentioned it. Drift, I think he mentioned it as well. Matt from Heavy Metal Monsters mentioned it. And I'm like, man, I really need to check this out.
Basically, it's just like BeamNG, but basically in a lower version of what. But these people that create the game is like, what the hell are you people making? But it's like a soft body physics game. Basically, you turn the damage on and off whatever you want to. Yeah. And you'll see the pieces fly everywhere, off the body, on the chassis. Heck, you can even see the axles break off when you do the jump wrong. I was like, damn, dude, truck snaps like a twig when you hit something solid.
So is it free, or do you have to pay for it? Is it?
It's free, yeah. The only thing you pay for is just the DLCs. They got like a good handful. They got leafer trucks, mud trucks, and some of the truck names that are gonna be in that game are also gonna be in the newer version, which is the revamped version, which is coming up. I think coming up soon.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hearing.
I really need to check that out. It might be worth doing like a fun run or something. You know, get a lot of us together and just do an online session.
Around, yeah.
I mean, you know, maybe we can get a little competition going and do, you know, that'd be kind of interesting. I might have to check that out. Definitely on my list of things. Maybe once the Steel Titan series slows down and, you know, Showdown is slowly creeping up, I can do it in between, because man, right now I am swamped. I am trying to keep up with all these videos, trying to get them all up and running in time for everybody. So, but we're coming towards the end. This week, let's see, last week was Stadium Stop 4. It was Glendale. So this upcoming week, so this is going to air on Monday. So technically today, if you're listening today on Monday, it's going to be the 5th and final stop of the Arena series. So we'll be crowning a champion on Friday. And then next week is the 5th stop in Anaheim of the Stadium Series, but we'll not crown a champion until the end of World Finals, because points in World Finals still count towards the Stadium leaderboard. So whoever's in the lead at the end of Anaheim, technically still not the winner. They still have to get points in World Finals. So it's not over yet. And here's the thing about World Finals that's so great. There's going to be 15 trucks. That means...
including the Arena guys, right?
Yep. Three guys from four, because we did lose Gas Monkey, so we're gonna have 15 total trucks. It's gonna be 11 from the Stadium, 3 from Arena. That makes 14, and then the last chance qualifier, so 15 trucks. So with there being 15 trucks, if you're in first place in any competition, you're gonna get 15 points instead of 12.
Wow.
So that's the difference maker. That's what's gonna make it all change. So you can be in the lead come the end of Anaheim, but if someone else comes and gets 2 competition wins in World Finals, that's 30 points that they can earn. So I mean, it's a game changer. So it's going to be exciting to see, because this is just I mean, season 2 was pretty close, but this season's it's creeping up there. Everyone's getting pretty close, and you know, the top 4 and 5, any one of those can win it right now. So I guess, you know, for anybody listening, or even you too, Phil, don't get your hopes down. There's still a chance, you know.
Hey, I'm not getting my hopes down. I'm still want to attack it. I'm still want to win something, because, you know, I've been beat by World Finals champions and Steel Titans, which I got no problems with. But when I start kicking in an overdrive, don't think I'm not gonna stop, because I will go for it. For a win.
And see, you know, you might get lucky, and like Omboji did with Dalmatian. You know, he got racing in San Diego, he got racing in Glendale, and those two are where Dalmatian got racing back in season 1, when April Summers behind the wheel. So there might be some luck there. There might be some, you know, something like that. And looking back at season 1 in Anaheim, Blue Thunder won racing. That was with MT World Media behind the wheel. So you know, you never know. There might be some kind of track luck there.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to watch out for Northern Nightmare, because Anaheim was one of his biggest stops as well.
Bring it on, bro. Bring it on. You want to go head to head with a guy with horns? I'm gonna bring it, man.
Oh, this has been a great season. Season 3 honestly has to be one of my favorites. So we'll, you know, before we get to the questions for the Steel Titan series, I'll go ahead and ask you maybe a couple more, just regular questions. So when it comes to a World Finals lineup, if you could have any kind of lineup, you know, let's say choose 5 trucks and drivers for freestyle and 2 trucks and drivers for a championship race, who would they be?
Okay, for freestyle, that's no different. I'm gonna still have Dennis Anderson and his Gravedigger,
of course,
Tom Entz to bring back Team Entz in one point, and most likely have Pablo drive Blacksmith again, and then Predator and Prowler to make a comeback with Alan Pizzo, and if there's any other driver out there, maybe Reptoid to replace Prowler.
There you go. I forget who drove, because they were brothers, weren't they? Predator and Prowler. It was Dave Pizzo and Alan Pizzo.
Yes.
So
and they added, I think, Pouncer along down the line.
Yeah, Pouncer. And then who drove Reptoid? Was it, what was his
Jim
name?
Jack.
Jim Jack. There you go. So
I remember that trick. I was like, what the hell's that?
Yeah, I think I was gonna say Reptoid, but actually it's Snakebite. Snakebite was originally made. I saw a video about this a while ago, but it was originally made to be a rival to Bigfoot. They were gonna go for like this kind of cartoony, or not cartoony, but kind of like a rivalry for like toy sales, to where it was Bigfoot against Snakebite. So that was the only reason Snakebite was made. So I kind of got him confused with Reptoid for a second, but yeah, man, that would be a pretty sick lineup. Then, you know, you say Pablo with Blacksmith. Hell, I'd love to see Pablo with Captain's Curse again.
Yep.
You know, that's the truck. Then debuting that same year, he won, you know, World Finals Freestyle.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about people. You see people win racing, then you see people win freestyle. What got him that niche? I don't have no clue. Like, I don't answer for that.
I mean, it's just insane. So, but the two, what about your championship race? Who would you love to see one last time in the championship race?
Usual two suspects, Dennis Anderson and Tom Metz.
I knew it. That's always my answer. Just love to see them race against each other. Oh man, I would pay so much money to see them just perform together one last time.
I'd keep rooting for Gradier all the way, man.
No,
even
for sure. I mean,
beat him heads up.
I love them both, and I'd love to see them race. But anytime they would race, I was always cheering for Dennis. Always.
Yeah.
Like, I love Tom, but it had to be Dennis. Every time for me, it had to be Dennis. If I had to choose between the two, it's always going to be Dennis.
Yep.
But Tom,
He's always good at racing.
Yeah, but they each brought the best out of each other.
Yeah.
Tom always brought the best out of Dennis, and Dennis always brought the best out of Tom. When them two were facing each other, they were always at their highest performance, I guess. They were always at their best when it was against each other. So that's why I love to see them compete against each other, because they bring the best out of each other, which makes it that much more of a better show overall. So last question before we move on to the Steel Titans questions. If you could create your own truck, what would it look like, and what would you name it?
Wow.
That's a tough one. That's usually a tough one because I'm not that creative.
Actually, I would bring back the red Gradier that Ryan drove and put it on top of the Gradier 7 chassis and call it 6 feet under.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But no, I like that. 6 feet under. I like that.
6 feet under, man.
But see, like that right there, maybe one of the Andersons can take that. Like I said, they need to kind of take their own, make their own identity. There you go. It's still somewhat the same theme,
somewhat
but it's
the same
own
truck, but it's a different name.
Still your, it's still your own name, but still affiliated with the same team. So I don't know if anyone wants to take that. We accept royalties and whatnot. Just throwing that out there. Anyways,
if I was driving up against those guys, I'll beat anybody. In particularly when I bring my own truck out, everybody be like, "Oh shit, I want to root for that guy. That never quits."
Oh man, I dream about that all the time. Maybe one day we'll get lucky and we'll actually do this for real. So moving on to the Steel Titan series, getting close to the end of all this. So your current position, and let me see, because I forget exactly where you are. Usually I'm spot on remembering where everybody is, but it's kind of hard keeping track of everybody at the same time. Let me see. So I think when we left Glendale, right? No.
I think it was Arizona.
Yeah, so leaving Glendale, you were at 7th place leaving Glendale with 131. The ones above you are Northern Nightmare and Max D, who are tied for 5th with 135, which isn't too far off.
Nope.
Like I said, there's still a chance to come back, so I wouldn't, But what are your current thoughts now going in? I mean, obviously it's going to be another week from now, but going into Anaheim, what are your current thoughts in your position?
All I have to do is just keep on pushing and just hopefully get a win out of it, because I know Blue Thunder won in season 1 in racing. Well, I could switch that and I could win freestyle, because that's the main port. I remember a short clip. I actually drilled Soldier Fortune on the start of the racing. I was like, oh crap, I got Soldier Fortune good.
Yeah, it's Blue Thunder is definitely a truck that is built to come back. I forget who I mentioned this to as well. I just have a horrible memory today. But season 1, MT World Media, Blue Thunder was right on it, right on the money. He was, I believe, ended up being 3rd overall in the season. But he was second in freestyle, right behind Max D in World Finals. And then come season 2, it was Nitro Studios behind the Wheel Blue Thunder. Started off kind of slow, was in last place for the majority, hit that halfway point, made it all the way up to end in 5th overall. I forget where he landed exactly in freestyle World Finals 2. It wasn't too bad, but so far this season, it's been a pretty constant, pretty not average. I would say above average. And where was it? Was it San Diego? No, one of the stops.
I think it was Anaheim when I went crazy. I think it was Anaheim that I went crazy.
I forget exactly where it was, but I mean, you were just like right there, just right, maybe second or third in freestyle. Yeah. So I mean, it's it's coming, and everybody gets hot and starts to slow down. Everyone starts slow and starts to heat up. I mean, that's just how it is in this competition, and that's what I've noticed a lot is you can start off hot and just cool down and be done. Yeah. And then you could start off a little cold and then start heating up and getting back up there. I mean, look at Northern Nightmare is a great example. Season 1 and 2 Stadium Series champion, and then he was in last place come San Diego. Like right at the start of San Diego, he was in 12th place, and now he's in 5th. He was in 4th, but he kind of had a little bit of hiccups in Glendale. But I mean, he's tied for 5th right now, so it's at this point, it's just getting hot when it matters, and you're definitely going to see that when it comes to the Arena Series this week on when getting hot matters. That's what happened in season 2. That's how Crush Station won. He got hot at the very end of the season, and he ended up winning. So, it's anybody's game at this point.
Yep, absolutely.
But at this point of the competition, who do you feel is your toughest rival or competitor?
I would say anybody. To be honest,
it's fair game.
Yeah, because basically you have champions, racing champions, two skill champions in there that are mixed in with the guys that are trying to win their first ever event. Of course, myself. It could be anybody. I mean, I'm being fair with this because I know everybody picks one person and they just said, I could beat him. Well, you got everybody to choose from. You could count myself out, but I could make a comeback out of nowhere and just say, listen, I got this pedestal. I'm here for a reason. If I put on a show for you guys watching that are subscribed to this channel, I would say I'm gonna bring it to the table. I'm gonna make those guys sweat for sure. Make them sweat.
Make them nervous.
Mm-hmm. Just like Dennis used to say.
And if you don't win, who do you? And I know you just said, you're not gonna. It's hard to pick one person because really anybody can do it. But if you don't win, who do you think deserves to win?
I do. No, I'm just kidding. I'll win. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean the guy I've been watching was Bakugan Dragonoid. On one show I saw him flop in one of the shows. I was like, man, this guy had it, and all of a sudden he just flopped. I was like, why would he flop? Coming down to like the God knows how many stadiums left. I would say it's gonna be either Bakugan Dragonoid or the other guy that I saw. He surpassed me. One of the other guys actually won and surpassed my score. I forgot who it was, and I remember watching the whole thing.
Was it Dragon?
Yeah, it was Dragon. That guy is God. Jeez, that guy is good.
He, it's funny because this is really his comeback season. Because in season 2, he was in Zombie, and he was 10th or 11th place. So it wasn't really a great season for him. And he just flipped the switch, got into Dragon. He's just a completely different person.
Yep, which is a good thing because you need a different identity to start kicking it in overdrive.
No, for sure. So other than that, I mean that's all I got for the Steel Titans questions, the series questions. We'll see what happens this week in Arena, and then next week is going to be the final stop of Stadium before World Finals 3 in Oakland. So it's definitely going to be exciting. But before we wrap everything up, is there anything you want to cover before we end, or any questions you might have for me?
Actually, I have one specific question. Are you a NASCAR fan, Rod? Just to put it out there, because I don't know, you never actually put the pinpoint on that one. Because I know I'm a Dale Jr. fan.
So I've never really given it a try. I did at some point. I tried, and I played some of the games. The games were fun. Don't get me wrong, the games were really fun. But I never really gave the actual competition a try. The closest, and this is going to be probably going to sound kind of funny. The closest I ever got to like really, really liking NASCAR or any kind of like racing of that aspect was the movie Cars.
Yes.
I mean,
exactly.
to this date, that's still my favorite Pixar movie, and it's my like absolute. I love Cars. I could sit there and watch it all day long. I won't watch Cars 2 though. I hate Cars 2, but Cars 1 and Cars 3, absolute favorite. And that's really the closest I ever got to it, and I feel like that kind of piqued my interest into NASCAR a little more, but not enough. Mostly because I was already such a huge Monster Jam fan, and I've tried giving Supercross a try too. And it's just it doesn't give me what Monster Jam gives me, so that's why I've never really tried that either. Like I've played the games, I've played MX versus ATV and all that stuff. Amazing games, super fun games.
Absolutely.
But nothing gives me what Monster Jam gives me.
Do you know what movie I like, Rod?
Which one's that?
It wasn't Cars though. This movie was back in the 90s actually, with this guy that used to be in Top Gun. He was the main character to focus. It was Days of Thunder.
I don't think I've seen that one.
That movie's good.
Is it?
That movie's really good. Yeah. The guy Tom Cruise, he's a good actor.
Oh,
and then
of course.
After that,
you gotta have Tom Cruise.
Yeah, and then after that, he did Top Gun. And this dude is an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah, man, he does his own stunts. That guy's
exactly. Yeah.
We should put him in a monster truck, see what happens.
You might like it.
So maybe we can get him and The Rock in the Monster Jam movie.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. He can be the stuntman.
Say no. Yep. That guy won't say no.
But I guess other than that, is there anything else you'd like to cover, or anything you want to say to everybody out there listening?
Well, if you guys are listening, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your lives, because it's gonna be a good one. And I hope to see you guys in Monster Jam's Showdown for sure. Hope to, beat you guys down in Titans, and hopefully if I win, don't start crying after me. Just start crying to Rod, because he's the one that brought me. Well, and not just that, good luck to my man Drip Boy. I hope he wins the Arena Series, because I know he's got a tough competition over there. If me and him meet in the middle, like a piece of like a sandwich, me and him are gonna be good rivals, like Dennis and Tom.
It'll be interesting to see what happens in World Finals, because right now he's in first place. Top 3 are going to World Finals, so he kind of has a ticket to World Finals already. It'd be interesting to see who comes out on top if y'all end up racing each other.
I'm down for it. I got no problem.
It's gonna be a good race. It's gonna be bragging rights for a long time.
That's gonna be one race to watch. Me versus Drift. I won up to him one time and he liked it. I was like, really? Usually people like you don't usually like it, but
nah, he's a good sport. He's a fun competitor and a great guy overall. So I'm sure either way he's gonna enjoy it, and he's just gonna want to go again. So but
he will.
It's been great, dude. It's been a lot of fun. Glad to have you on. I know we've been talking about it for a while. We weren't able to find a good time last week. I know I was incredibly busy, and this week it's been a little bit of back and forth. But hey, man, we found time. We got it, and there we go.
Absolutely.
We can check you off the list.
Thank you very much, Rod.
So for sure, man.
I enjoy
thanks.
watching the series, man.
Man, I appreciate that, and I look forward to having you in Showdown and really any other competitions, and maybe we can have you on here again in the future.
Oh hell yeah, man! I'm looking forward to it.
So I appreciate it. Thanks again, and we'll see you around, dude.
Absolutely, I'll be there.
All right, everyone. So I hope you enjoyed that. I had a great conversation with Action Phil. Appreciate him a lot. I know we've been talking about doing this for a while now. He wanted to be in the podcast ever since it was first announced, and we finally were able to meet with each other and get it done. So huge thank you to Phil for being a part of it. Looking forward to see what the rest of the season brings to you, man, and hopefully you can come out on top with some kind of championship at World Finals. But let's go ahead and move on to the ending segment of the Rodcast, which is the common question of the day, which comes from my Discord, and it comes from Death Warrant, who is one of the judges for the Steel Titans 2 series, and he will be joining the Showdown series when it comes out. And his question is, it's kind of a two-part question, really two questions in one. Is old Monster Jam better? And what ways could modern-day Monster Jam be improved? And that's kind of a tough question, because yes, honestly, I do believe old Monster Jam is better. Everybody was more on the ragged edge. They could do pretty much whatever they wanted and continue and throw out this amazing, crazy run with, the body flying off, wheels flying off, a damaged truck just going crazy. I mean, look back at like World Finals 5 where Max D, he had that broken truck and he was just ramming everything with a broken truck, just wherever it went, hitting whatever was in his way and just going absolutely nuts, and really any other freestyle runs where they just, they break a wheel and then they just keep going. And it's just a lot of old Monster Jam, and with the crush cars and crushing the RVs and the campers and the buses, and I mean, all that was a huge aspect of Monster Jam. And then, they decided to take it away by implementing dirt, which, cool, yeah, I'm sure it's cheaper and it's safer, and at the end of the day, it's about everybody's safety, but I feel like it's taken away a lot from the show itself. And don't get me wrong, I love the two-wheel skills, the bicycles, the nose wheelies, the moonwalks, the backflips and all that. All that stuff is amazing. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but to me, nothing really beats classic Monster Jam with, the crazy cyclones, the crazy wheelies, the slap wheelies, the power wheelies, the sky wheelies, breaking the tire off, continuing the run, and still putting on an amazing show, and them putting out a fresh camper, a fresh RV, and them just bowling through it and just absolutely destroying it. And I mean, it's something that's very nostalgic, and I don't think we're gonna see again for a really long time, if at all. But when it comes to what ways could modern day Monster Jam be improved, I would say bring back crush cars. Bring back the crush cars, bring back the RVs, bring back the campers, bring back the buses. Give us stuff that these trucks are going to destroy. Don't, the tricks, the skills, all that, it's amazing. Don't get me wrong, it's awesome, but it can get a little repetitive, and I don't know, you can only go so far with it before people just kind of get tired of it. And I'm not going to lie, I've been to a lot of Monster Jam shows, and some things that I hear people complain about is skills. It's all the same. Everybody's doing the exact same moves, and that's why I was so hesitant to have a skills competition when I did the Steel Titans 2 series, because you can only do so much. Freestyle, there's a lot of different options. There's a lot of different ways you can take it, but skills, it's a lot of the same. It's either a bicycle or a stoppie and a moonwalk. I mean, that's pretty much it. It's kind of limited, and now, with the series, I've kind of opened that up more to where it's kind of free range and more options. You can do more crazy things. But like in the real life Monster Jam shows, everybody's doing a nose wheelie, everybody's doing a moonwalk, everybody's doing a bicycle into a sidewall. I mean, it's all the exact same. It's just who shows more control, and it kind of gets tiring. So having more of a wow aspect and seeing what these trucks can really do, which is what they were originally made to do, was to crush things. Definitely need to bring that back. So if there's any way I believe that modern day Monster Jam can be improved, it's bring back crush cars, bring back RVs, bring back campers and buses, and just that kind of aspect of it to give us more of a wow moment than what we currently have. So that's pretty much all I got for that. One last thing I do want to mention is, what are y'all's thoughts on this? This is my question to you. Also, let me backtrack a little bit. If you'd like your comment question to be on the podcast, please be sure to comment down below. Or you can just comment on my YouTube. I have a channel dedicated to Rodcast questions, so be sure to add it there. And a huge thank you to Death Warrant for that question. But my question to you guys is, what do you guys think of this new Monster Jam movie? I saw that it was recently announced, like this past Friday, and Disney of all people are doing it, and I'm not a fan of The Rock. You heard it in the episode with Action Phil. I'm not a huge Dwayne Johnson fan. I know a lot of people aren't already, so I'm interested to see how this goes. Hopefully this is what opens the door more to more people, and we bring more awareness and more fans into it. But I don't know, I feel like he may not be the right person to do this, but who knows? Maybe I'll be eating my words when the movie comes out and it does great. So we'll see what happens. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think of the movie. Let me know what you guys think of today's episode, and what you guys would like to see in the future. If you'd like to be on the Rodcast, be sure to fill out the sign-up sheet. It's in the community tab, as well as in my Discord, and I believe on my Instagram as well. And if you can't find it, let me know, and I can definitely direct you that way. And if you'd like your comment question again mentioned on the podcast, please be sure to comment down below or put it in the server, in my Discord server. The link is in the description below. And yeah, that's all I got for today, guys. We do have another guest lined up for next week, so definitely looking forward to that. And after that, I'll be writing solo for the week of World Finals to do a special little episode myself with predictions and stats and whatnot. But that's all I got for now. Once again, guys, I do appreciate all of you guys for listening. I hope you guys like. If you do, be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to rate. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, I'm Project Rod, and I'll see you in the next one.